Hi guys, it's Mark Zickery, Mr. Sci-Fi, and this is your Twilight Zone Minute. So today we're talking about The Last Flight by Richard Matheson. And previously, Rod Serling, during this first season of The Twilight Zone, had adapted two of Matheson's short stories, where Rod wrote the scripts himself, but this one was written by Matheson. And it's a wonderful, wonderful storyline. And Matheson and Beaumont and George Clayton Johnson and Earl Hamner, the other major writers of The Twilight Zone, would all come up with very distinctive and very singular scripts. And that's what Rod wanted. He wanted people who could think of storylines that were very much The Twilight Zone, but not the stories he necessarily would have thought up himself. And so originally, the original title of this was Flight. And Matheson told me that he really likes titles with a dual meaning. And so flight meant the flight of the airplane, but also the fear, the flight from danger that the main character experiences in his act of cowardice. The basic notion is a very simple one and a very fun one, which is that it's World War I. A World War I pilot, British pilot, is basically in a dogfight, and he abandons his friend to death and flies into the clouds. And when he lands, he's on a modern circa 1959, 1960 airbase. And it's a wonderful, wonderful episode. It stars Kenneth Haig. And the basic idea is a very Twilight Zone-y idea. There really isn't any other show that was on the air at that time that this could have been made on. And but they felt that Buck Howden felt that the title Flight was too brief and not specific enough. So he asked Matheson to change it to The Last Flight. And Matheson felt that still had the double meaning of the last flight this guy takes and the last time he runs away. And it's a wonderful time travel story. And Matheson was friends with Jack Finney, who also was very interested in time travel stories. And of course, Matheson later would write Somewhere in Time, which was one of the great time travel romances. And Matheson at this point was already well known when he started writing for Twilight Zone. He'd written The Shrinking Man, which was made into the movie The Incredible Shrinking Man, from his novel. He'd written I Am Legend, which was a novel that had not yet been made into the three versions of a film that it was adapted into, which was The Last Man on Earth, starring Vincent Price in the 60s, The Omega Man, starring Charlton Heston in the 70s, and the more recent I Am Legend, starring Will Smith. But this episode was the one that kicked off Matheson writing scripts for The Twilight Zone, The Last Flight, and it works wonderfully well. And Buck Howden told me that when they shot it at the airbase, a real airbase with jet pilots, jet fighters, the pilots were so amazed by this World War I biplane. Many of them, of course, had been born, long after World War I, and when they saw this amazing, real World War I aircraft that was made out of, wood and wire, even though they themselves were flying modern jets, they just couldn't get enough of looking over this plane and asking questions about it. So really, really fun. And there actually is a publicity photo of a modern quote-unquote jet fighter pilot, a real one, admiring this plane. So it's a very fun episode. It's very telling. And again, this is a story about someone rising to the challenge, where they commit an act of cowardice, and the Twilight Zone allows them to redeem themselves and get a second chance. So that's about it for now. Go to twilightzonecommentary.com. I'm going to be doing over 100 episode commentaries on Twilight Zone episodes, and you can get them. This is the only place you can get them. There's nowhere else. You can't go into Walmart and find them. You have to go to twilightzonecommentary.com, and you will really, really love them. That's it for now. Talk soon. Bye, guys.